Hey everyone, Rob here from Gunfather Milsim. Today I want to talk about CQB and room clearing in particular. Now, this is kind of a subject I've stayed away from for a long time because it's kind of a wasp nest that I didn't really want to kick over to a large degree. I don't know why, but people are get very defensive about room clearing and CQB, theories and shit. And when you explain to them that the way they've been doing things, wherever they learned it, may not be the safest or the smartest, or maybe there's a newer way that's a better way of doing things, they can get extremely defensive and argumentative and just kind of close their minds off to new ways. So before we get started, you can clear rooms however you want. It's your life, or it's your, from an airsoft context, it's your fun, it's your respawn walk. I don't really care. This is how I do it, and it's worked very well for me. Now, a little bit about my background, for those of you that don't know. I've been a police officer since 2001, a SWAT officer since 2009, and the last several years I've been a SWAT instructor, CQB instructor, more recently a rifle instructor, firearms instructor. So I have a lot of background in this sort of stuff, and I have a lot of real-world experience clearing rooms. At the time of this, I think I've done like close to 600 high-risk warrant entries in my career. I plan on getting 1,000 before I retire, but we'll see what happens. Neither here nor there. I don't tell you all that to say that I'm the king shit of tactical fuck mountain. That's not true, and I would tell you to be wary of anybody who claims to be such. What I'm trying to establish is I have some credibility in this area, and I don't come to these conclusions lightly. Now, when our team teaches this in a SWAT school, at a minimum, this is a 3-day, 24-hour class. It would be unrealistic for me to try to pack 24 hours of training into 10 minutes. It would also be beyond, it's not really necessary. Okay, not to mention the fact that, there's guys that make a living teaching this stuff, so it would be not cool of me to put their entire curriculum on YouTube, even though, let's just say that the people who watch my channel and the people who would take their classes are not exactly in the same sphere. Neither here nor there. What I'm going to show you is a real quick version that only takes like 15 minutes to show you, to teach you. When I go to different ops that are going to be indoors, CQB heavy, room clearing heavy, I'll sometimes pull the guys on my team aside who don't know this, and I'll show it to them, just a real quick 15-minute intro. And they have a lot of success with it. And it doesn't take long. Now, does it cover all the what ifs and whatnots? No, it doesn't, nor should it, nor does it have to. At the end of the day, it's just airsoft. But I want you guys to have kind of an open mind for what I'm showing you here. It's probably going to be like a 2 or 3 part video. The first part's just going to be me explaining it, doing a little bit of stuff on the good old marker board here, and explaining why I choose to do it this way, why I was taught this way versus the traditional stack up and flow into the room method, which in my opinion is very dated. It's World War II era tactic. It's not terribly bright. It's got a lot of shortfalls, and I could talk about it for hours and hours, but we're just going to cover some of the highlights here of why that's not such a good idea. Alright, so let's get started. Now, first, we're going to start real simple, just a center fed room, even though corner feds are more common. And we're going to start by explaining why flowing into rooms, stacking up, breaching rooms, flowing in there is not always the brightest idea in the world. Okay? Now, our bad guys in the room are blue. Good guys, we'll just stick with 2 for now, are in the red. Okay? Their job is to go in this room and clear it. Now, traditionally, we're going to do our really cool stack up. We're going to hut, and this guy's going to go into the room here. Now, there's always been lots of debate, does he go left, does he go right, does he button hook, first man's always right, blah, 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 blah. Forget all that shit, it's not really relevant for this argument. And understand, before I get too far into this, in a SWAT school in 2006, this is what they taught, this is what I learned, and it was cool, it was the shit, we felt really badass, and they'd put all sorts of targets in here, threat, non-threat targets, you'd go and you'd clear all the rooms, and man, it was cool, but there was nobody shooting back at you. And when you start getting shot back at is when this all starts falling apart. Now, when everybody in the room is compliant or, you know, non-violent or whatever, it's real easy to, you know, come in here, clear the room, secure everybody, life is good. Guys like that, doesn't matter how you walk in the room. If they're compliant, they're compliant. They're not going to shoot at you, they're not going to shoot at you. You can knock on the door and go in there. Clear the room, life is good. The problem is when they're what we call prepared defenders. Okay, prepared defender is a guy with his finger on the trigger, muzzle pointed at the door or the window or whatever. Whatever opening you're going to come through, that's prepared defender. What do we have in airsoft? Prepared defenders. Everybody's there to shoot each other. Nobody's there to just sit there and be compliant. Okay? So the second this guy walks in, of course we're going to call this the fatal funnel, he's going to get shot to shit. There's no way he can win against these 4 guys, 3 guys, 2 guys, however many guys are in there. He's not going to win that fight. Okay? Surprise will give him a little bit of an edge. If he has surprise, probably not in an airsoft context. At the end of the day, he's going to get owned. Okay? And this guy right behind him, he's going to get owned as well. There's no cover. They're not using any cover. For all we know, these guys have set up positions behind bunkers and couches or whatever. They have cover. These guys don't. It's an unknown. They're going to run in there. They're going to get shot to shit. Here's the worst part about it is this guy runs in, gets shot, goes down. Okay? We own that room now. Okay? Now we got to keep throwing bodies in. Keep throwing bodies in until we get that room, until we own it, until we control it. It's going to be very costly. It'll take a lot of casualties. Whether it be an airsoft context or whether it be a real world context, we got to own that room. That's a problem. Now I'm going to show you a different way to do it. Safer way. It's got a lot of different names. Today we're just going to call it clearing from the door. So this guy, here's your number 1 guy. He's approaching this opening, center fed room. And he's going to try to clear as much of this room from the outside as he can. And he's going to slowly pie through the room, engaging each party as he sees them. So instead of him jumping on in here and having to engage all 4 of these people at the same time, he's going to start here, see this guy, engage him, pie a little more, see this guy, engage him, pie a little more, see this guy, engage him. Okay? That way he's only getting 1 engagement at a time. Instead of having to run in that room and taking that whole room and taking all those bad guys, he's just got to deal with 1 little lane at a time and address each of those appropriately. If this guy knows how to use cover correctly, and I went over that in a previous video about 2 years ago, but I'll cover it in the next video. Short version: tuck elbow in, tuck your knee in, lean over. Don't expose yourself any more than you have to. You can successfully engage these guys. Now, if he pies the room slowly enough and small enough bites, hopefully, if there's time, ideally, he can see maybe this guy's leg and arm before he sees his whole body. And if this guy can't see this guy's eyes, this guy can't see him. So if you pie really slow, theoretically you can engage people without them seeing you. That's not typical. That's not very time effective most of the time. Most of the time you don't have time to do that. But if you got a real high threat room that you know for a fact somebody's in, maybe they're shooting, you know, back out, and you got to clear that real slow, that'd be the way to do it. Real slow. Your goal is to see a leg or an arm before you see a whole body. So one of the advantages of doing it this way is, let's say this guy gets hit right here. This guy gets a shot, hits him. Well, we don't have to own this room now because he's outside of it. So real world, we can come up, grab this guy, pull him back. Airsoft context, we can run up, grab that guy, pull him back, medic him, whatever. But we don't own this room. He's not down in here, so we got to keep throwing bodies at it. And then we can form a different plan as to how we're going to handle that. Maybe we're going to throw banks in there, throw, whatever, devices in there to clear the room with explosives or whatever. So that's one big advantage. Other big advantage is it doesn't take a lot of manpower to do this. This is one guy doing most of the work. Now, we're going to have secondary guys, stacks. And I'm not going to get into that because that gets kind of deeper into the class. Honestly, it's kind of irrelevant for an airsoft context because most of the time in airsoft, you got one guy doing room clearing by himself and another guy right behind him. Short version, this guy's going to be off to the side if he's got a number 2, and he's going to cover long and he's going to take care of threats downrange, down the hallway or whatever. But not so far up front that he's going to take fire from these guys inside the room. He's going to be just off this guy's shoulder. Okay, short version. So, the criticism of this, typically, is that, oh, it takes forever, it's too slow, you don't have time to do that. And, you know, my argument is, why are you in such a big hurry to die? Because that's essentially what you're doing, is you're in a big rush to run in that room to die. And everybody gets, you know, like, so obsessed with this. Oh, it's a fatal funnel, fatal funnel, fatal funnel. That fatal funnel works both ways, okay? It's only a fatal funnel if you're dumb enough to go through it, okay? It's their fatal funnel if you're smart enough to fight through it, okay? So it works both ways. And when we do this, when we pie slowly and engage these targets one by one, that's using that fatal funnel against them. So I'm going to show you how this whole thing's going to play out. How we're going to deal with this whole room. Let's put 3 guys in here just for shits. So you're by yourself, which happens often. First thing we're going to do is what they call a narrow approach. Okay, I'm not going to approach way out here in the hallway and try clearing it out here. The further out I am in this hallway or whatever, the easier it is for people inside this room to see me. The easiest place to stay hidden, let's say this is their field of view. So where's the safe place to stay? Where's the safe place to approach where they're not going to see you? Right here. Narrow approach. Right along the wall. Okay? That's why we're going to do that. Next thing we're going to do is have our, what we call toes to cover. We're going to face the wall, face our cover. Alright? And I'm going to explain that later. I can demonstrate that and show you why it's easier to clear things if you're facing the wall versus your back to it. It's a pretty good indicator someone doesn't know what they're doing in CQB if their back is to the wall that they're trying to clear around. So we're going to face our cover. Then we're going to do our segmented search. Okay, so the first thing we're going to see as we do this narrow approach is this corner right here. This whole area right here is what we're going to see. Now, depending on the room, you might not be able to clear that entire corner from the hallway. You might not be able to see all the way to the wall. Most rooms you can, especially in airsoft context. Maybe there's a little sliver you can't see. Maybe there's something in the way, dresser or whatever, somebody can hide behind. But for the most part, you can probably see that whole room. Okay, and we're going to move here to the 45. Now we got all this. We see this guy, engage him, whatever, handle him, taken care of. Now we're going to move to the 90, directly 90 degree with this piece of cover here. Still using this as cover. Now we can probably see out to here. Nothing. We're going to continue moving around to here. And people are going to scream, oh my God, you're standing in the fatal funnel. You got to get out of the goddamn fatal funnel. We're not worried about the fatal funnel because we already took care of this guy. Okay, he's not a threat. We're using this piece of cover here to address this guy. Okay, take him out. See how we're using that fatal funnel against him? So now we're at the 45 that way. All clear. Now all that's left is this last little sliver. And that last little sliver is kind of hard to clear from the outside, so that's when you're just going to snap this corner and peek it. Okay, and there's oftentimes people hide there, and then you'll engage that guy, still using cover. Once again, I'm going to demonstrate it later, but that's our general approach. Narrow approach, buckle the cover, check the deep corner, 45, 90, 45, attack that sliver. There's some other tricks as far as how do you handle this. Any danger area, any last little corner you couldn't see there as you approach, but we'll cover that later. That's the short version of it. Okay, and then of course after we attack that corner, then we can step in and do whatever we got to do inside the room because we visually cleared the entire thing. Now, the only thing we got to make entry for to clear is this guy right here, right at the end. Okay. Now, obviously, this doesn't address things like trouble areas, looking under beds, people hiding behind cover, people hiding behind other crap in the room. That we don't have any control over. We got to go in the room and physically look around those things. But we can clear most of a room from outside it, from the safety of this cover here, without going inside. All right? That is what the whole method is based on. So we're going to utilize our cover as long as we can and clear as much stuff from outside the room as we can. And we're going to use that fatal funnel against the people inside the room. Instead of stepping in it, we're going to clear through it. Alright, so that was a center-fed room, which is the worst case scenario because it's difficult, because there's lots of exposures you got to worry about. Most rooms are not center-fed, most rooms are corner-fed. The reason most rooms are corner-fed is because it saves space. Because when that door swings, It swings against the wall. So here's our room, okay? This is what you're typically going to see. And this is easier than the center fed. So we got, bad guys in here, whatever. Put 3. So how are we going to clear this? Exact same way. And do our narrow approach. We're going to peek in here, try to clear this area first. Probably going to pick this guy up from the hallway, way out here. And boom, engage him. Move up, and then we're just going to do a segmented search just like we did before. Shoot that guy, segmented, shoot this guy. Now we still got this little sliver of this corner over here that maybe we couldn't quite see from the hallway way back here. All you're going to do is snap in and clear it. Visually clear it. Easy enough. And what if we're coming from this way? Easy enough. If I'm clearing from this way, I'm clearing down the hall. Room opens up to my right. This is my pivot point. Instead of this, it's this. I'm just going to pivot and clear and clear and clear. Oh, there's a guy. Keep clearing. There's a guy. Once again, oh my God, you're sitting in the fatal funnel. Doesn't matter. I've already cleared this. I've used the fatal funnel to my advantage. I'm using it against them. And I do keep clearing. Oh, there's a guy. Shoot him. All I got left is this hard corner that I haven't even peeked at yet. Snap in. Clear that hard corner. If I have to duck out, I can still duck out. I can still get out. Now I'm not running in and committing to the room. That's it. That's the quick and dirty way of how we do it. Now, does it take a little bit more time? Yes. Yes, it takes a little bit more time. But since you're not using as many people to clear that room, you're not throwing 5, 6 bodies in there. You're just throwing you're generally just throwing 1 or 2. The rest of the stack can just move on to other rooms. Now there is a quick caveat to this. So let's say here's our room, here's our corner fed room. We're moving down this hall and we're going to clear this room. Now we have no idea what's in this room. This is an unknown. Could be nobody, could be 3 bad guys in there. And we start taking fire, let's say from a guy here, okay, which is common in airsoft. You're going to start taking fire from that guy. And these distances are not exactly perfect. Obviously, it would be unwise for me to sit here and take my time and slowly pie this room while I'm taking fire from that hallway. This hallway is no longer a safe spot that I can operate from. Now I need to get the hell out of it. I need to go to a safe space. The known danger is in this hall. The unknown is here. We're going to go to the unknown. If we cannot safely take this guy out, we're just going to run in here. Okay? And while we're doing that, we're going to hastily clear from the hall as much as we can as we're running. We're just not going to run in blind. But at the end of the day, this is the big threat right now, not here. Now, if we do run in here, and there just happens to be a knucklehead here, well, it's back to the old way of, running in a room, flooding in the room, and hoping for the best. Probably not going to be a good day for you in this situation. So that's the caveat. Maybe your bad guys down here shooting at you at the end of the hall. Maybe there's 2 guys shooting at you, whatever. The key is, if this is not a safe place, we don't have time to be slowly pieing this room and clearing it. We got to get in. We got to get to a safe space, okay? And this is a common thing in airsoft. People like, we get these really cool venues, these huge places to have these ops in, and they always have these long hallways like schools or whatnot. And guys like to sit on the end of these hallways and just control a whole hallway. It's a good tactic. But if that hallway is not a safe place to stay, well then, you're not going to have time to safely clear from the outside of the room. You're going to have to run in that room. Got it? All right. So that's pretty much all I got for today. That's what I wanted to cover. Sorry if this hurt your feelings. Understand that I used to be a hardcore, I was taught stack up, flow into the room. First guy's always right. Second guy goes where he doesn't. They follow the walls, blah blah blah, all that crap. And since about 2009, I do this now. And this is safer. This is more effective. It's just a touch slower, but not much. It's a lot safer and a lot smarter. Okay, so the next video, I'm going to demo it a little bit more. So maybe it makes a little more sense. I can only do so much with a marker board and my kids' magnet toys. So want to have a discussion in the comments, go right ahead. I'm not going to get in a huge argument about it because I just got better things to do. But if we want to discuss it, that's cool a little bit. And thanks for watching.